With a net worth of $214 billion, Elon Musk is the richest person on the face of the planet. However, one look at history books is enough to tell you that he's not the richest person in history by any means. That title goes to Mansa Musa, an ancient ruler whose wealth is said to be so large and his fortune so immense that just his philanthropy would have been enough to destroy entire economies. Who was Mansa Musa, and how did he get so rich? Let's find out. Born in 1280, Mansa Musa was the 9th Mansa of the Mali Empire. His brother Abu Bakr ruled before him, and after Abu Bakr left on a voyage of the Atlantic Ocean to explore the lands beyond, Mansa Musa was crowned king. The Mali Empire at the time of Musa's ascension was a thriving kingdom. Musa expanded the borders even further, annexing 24 new cities, including the world-famous Timbuktu. Under his rule, the kingdom grew to include over 2,000 miles of land all the way from Niger on one side to the Atlantic Ocean on the other. With all this land came all the resources of mineral-rich Africa, which included, as you probably guessed, large amounts of gold. During the time that Mansa Musa ruled, the Mali Empire owned over half of all the gold in the world. The wealth that came with being the ruler of someplace so minerally rich was indescribable. Literally indescribable. Historians aren't even sure what number to point toward when someone asks how much he was worth. No one really knows just how rich Mansa Musa was. However, conservative estimates put him above $4.6 trillion. According to Rudolph Butch Ware, Associate Professor of History at the University of California, contemporary accounts of Musa's wealth are so breathless that it's almost impossible to get a sense of just how wealthy and powerful he truly was. Despite its enormous wealth, the Kingdom of Mali wasn't well known, and it was only after a little show and tell that people started to realize just how big of a deal Mansa Musa was. The devout Muslim ruler decided to visit Mecca as part of his religious beliefs and took with him over 60,000 men. The entire royal court, with all of its officials, soldiers, entertainers, merchants, camel drivers, and 12,000 slaves, resulted in a caravan so big that some accounts of the site describe it as a never-ending line of men. Each camel in the caravan held over 100 pounds of gold, and some of the finest silk that money can buy. When the caravan reached Cairo, the immense wealth that it brought into the city completely decimated the economy. Mansa Musa gave away huge amounts of gold, which lowered its price and sent the price nosediving for the next decade or so. Estimates by US-based technology company SmartAsset.com show that Mansa Musa's gold supply resulted in a loss of $1.5 billion from the Cairo economy. On his way back from the pilgrimage, seeing the destruction his gold had caused, Mansa Musa tried buying the gold back, which didn't really do much as the damage had already been done. Mansa Musa ended up becoming a legend thanks to his misguided generosity. His rise in popularity is actually what led to the story of African El Dorado, or the African City of Gold. So, that was the story of the richest man in the world. Too rich for his own good. What about the second richest man in the world? Who is he, and just how much wealth had he amassed? Before we find out, smash that subscribe button to stay up to date on the latest videos. The second richest person to ever live was Gaius Julius Caesar, or he was later named Augustus Caesar, the first emperor of Rome. At the time of his death, Augustus Caesar owned almost 1/5 of the wealth of the entire Roman Empire, an empire that accounted for about 30% of the gross domestic product of the whole world. According to most estimates, Augustus Caesar falls just behind Mansa Musa with a net worth of at least $4.6 trillion. Augustus Caesar was the heir to Julius Caesar, and by the time he inherited the empire, it was in the middle of enjoying 2 centuries free of war and conflict. Augustus took full advantage of the peace and doubled the size of the empire under his rule and introduced various tax reforms that greatly contributed to his sky-high net worth. Under Augustus's rule, the Roman Empire grew to include Egypt, the Alps, Spain, and even the Balkans. His kingdom was huge, and his fortune even more so. Also, fun fact, Augustus Caesar is the same person that the month August is named after. That's how influential he was. Before being named August, the month was called Sextilis. The name was changed to honor Augustus's first victory over Antony and Cleopatra. So, that was it. The two richest men in all of human history. Their fortunes are almost incomprehensibly larger than the current leaders of the world, and their influence big enough to change the course of history.